welcome to the Independence Day special, Kairos Hub in collaboration with the 7000. The theme for today is Reviving Hope, Stories of Transformation. I am very, very excited because we're going to be hearing stories of individuals just like you and I who are doing extraordinary things. As we listen to these stories of transformation, I want you to have this thought in the back of your mind. Who am I and what am I doing to create change? Today, Nigeria is 60. Nigeria is the country of our birth. Nigeria, for a lot of us, is the only country that we have known. The question is, are you happy with what you see about Nigeria? Today, I would like to provoke you to have a different vision, one that comes from the inside and is translated to the environment around you. Before I hand off to the next few speakers, I would like to share a few stories of transformation of my own. 14 years ago this month, I survived a plane crash. No, I did not miss my flight. I was actually in a plane that crashed. But that's not where the story starts. You see, by all intents and purposes, I should have been a statistic. I was born into a single-parent home, and we know how the story is supposed to end. But I had a powerful woman as a mother, and one of the very first things that she taught me was the power of visualization. In fact, I remember one of the stories that she shared about how her father taught her how to imagine the future that she wanted to walk into. And so she was waiting to enter into secondary school, and he made her wear her older sister's uniform and walk around, visualizing herself in Queen's College, Yaba, Lagos. Suffice to say, she ended up going to Queen's College, Yaba, Lagos, which was also my alma mater. And so imagine a few years down the line, I'm in university, and I used to call myself Mighty Mouse, the defender of my universe. There was nobody that came after my friends that did not, encounter me. And if you understand how tall I am, you realize that that's actually comical almost, because I am all of 5'4". But I believed inside of me that I was mighty. And shortly after, I dropped the mouse and I kept the mighty. Few years later, I found myself on a journey to NYSC. And so I was posted to Sokoto, and I was there for 9 months. Now, on my way back from Abuja to Sokoto, the story is widely publicized on Google, so you can check, because that's not what today is about. I was involved in a plane crash. It's the ADC flight 052 from Abuja to Sokoto, which had the Sultan of Sokoto, his son, and his grandson, just to mention a few people on that flight. And so I came back from Abuja to Lagos, and I ran from Nigeria. I was away from Nigeria for 7 years, but something brought me back. And so I came back, but I found myself not really understanding that I was in survival mode, just trying to marry, trying to have children, just trying to keep my head above water in our beautiful nation, Nigeria. Until about 4 years ago, God, and yes, I will talk about God a lot because He's at the core of my being, He gave me a vision for a conference. Now, that was not what was remarkable. The things that were remarkable about that vision were, number one, I had never done a conference before. Number two, he told me the venue that he wanted me to have the conference at, Eco Hotel, Lagos. That in itself was probably not as remarkable as the third thing, which was he wanted it to be free. I looked at him and I looked at myself, and I was like, how shall these things be? Because I did not have, to kobo, as they say, to make this vision happen. But what I did have was a mouth that kept speaking. And so everybody that I came in contact with, I said, God has told me to do a conference, a free conference in Eco Hotel. God has told me to do a conference, a free conference in Eco Hotel. And even when my heart was shaking, my mouth kept saying what it was that I had seen inside of my heart, to the point that people started to carry the vision. And lo and behold, December 2016, we had our very first free conference in Eco Hotel, Lagos. I thought that was a one-off, but then that became the template. He would ask me to do crazy things, that if you look at me and look at my CV, it didn't look like it could be achieved. But what I realized was that he was developing my appetite for risk. He was letting me know that an ordinary person who is not that tall in stature, but who has this deep inner belief that one with God is majority, can go on and achieve remarkable things. And so I entered into that comfort zone of doing conferences as you do. And then this year, smack dab in the middle of COVID, I'm brushing my teeth as you do. And I hear this inner voice, which I've come to know as the voice of God, saying to me, I want you to do a conference and I want you to call it the 7,000. I was like, okay, interesting. I want you to bring people from government, people from business, and people from the New Wineskin Church. I want people to realize that they shouldn't be depending on existing systems and structures to bring about the change that they so desperately want to see. I want people to realize that government lies inside of them, business lies inside of them, and the church or religion is also inside of them. So instead of looking outside and saying, what can the government do for me? How about you look inside and say, okay, what can I do for the government? What can I do for the nation that is mine, the only nation that has been bequeathed to me? And so I realized in that moment that I had a choice to make, to move from survival mode, surviving Nigeria, waiting for the doors to be open and maybe flee to a different country, or to move into deliverer mode. We are the ones coming to save ourselves. There's nobody else. We are our own savior. And so I realized that even the name that was given to me at my birth was becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy. I asked myself this question: what if, Esther, you were chosen to be Nigerian for such a time as this? And so time will not permit me to tell you about the roller coaster of emotions that I have felt over the last couple of months from the 1st of April until now. But I have seen phenomenal things happen. A couple of weeks ago, on the 13th of September, we had our first conference called the 7,000, and it was the government edition. And right here in this venue, we had powerful people from different facets of government talk about their journey and talk about the striving to walk and work with integrity. And one of the things that happened as an aftermath of that conference was that everybody that watched began to look inward, because we realized that the people that spoke were as ordinary as you and me. The only thing that they had was this driving compass that told them, you can do more, you can be more, you can actually effect change. Another thing that we learned was that change wasn't a product of a magic wand that you swish and then tomorrow everything is fine and dandy. But no, it was a series of consistent steps of obedience, questions of integrity. Who am I in this very moment? Do I like the person that I am? Will I be proud of this person that I am? Will I be proud of the decisions that this person is making? And so today we want to extend that conversation by highlighting to you people, ordinary, just like you and I. They do not have the usual excuses that we say, oh, I wish we had plenty of money. I wish I had this. I wish I had that. Ordinary individuals who have just determined in their heart that they are able to create change. And just like me, they did not know what the story would look like. They did not know what the impact of their obedience would be. And I put it to you that we're still uncovering even the heights and the depths of this obedience. But one thing we do know, no longer can we sit still. No longer can we fold our arms. No longer can we pack our bags and leave. There is a next generation, just like we have seen with the kids, and the music that they have played. What kind of country are we living for them? The Nigeria that you have now, will you be proud to leave it to your children? We can't all go. We can't all run. We can't all fold our arms. We can't all create castles until ourselves. So I ask you, What if, just what if, you and I were chosen to be Nigerian for such a time as this? Today, as you speak about our beloved country, please don't speak about what you can't see with your physical eyes. Think about this image. Think about your vision for a new Nigeria and speak it over the country. Speak it over your household. Speak it over your neighborhood. And just like my mom and myself, after her, it will not be a wonder to see that the things that you have spoken becomes your real and your present reality. Listen, enjoy, and be blessed. But beyond being blessed, I want you to be ignited. I don't just want you to be inspired by these stories. I want you to be ignited, to move into action and to decide that I am part of the 7,000. I am a change agent and I'm able to transform my environment around me. Thank you.
Dear Nigerians, today is not just another day. It's a day that reminds us of who we were, who we are, and most importantly, who we could be. 60 years ago, our nation was birthed. And that nation never knew that today you and I will be here, reignited and committed to helping her achieve greatness. We're indeed a great nation, and we all know that. We've been celebrated globally thanks to the resilience of our great writers, our actors, great artists, academics, and most importantly, you and I. But there's much more that we can be, and there's much more that we should be. 30 years from today, we'll be the third most populous nation globally. We'll have over 400 million Nigerians proudly flying the flag right here at home, and several other millions across the world. Now, this could be a great asset to us or a greater liability, but I'll choose for it to be an asset, and I hope you also join me. Yes, 400 million people is a force to reckon with, and we must be very intentional about our plans, our policies, and our purpose. Over 80% of this demographic will be young people below the age of 25 years, making us the nation with the highest youthful population. And for us to be very productive, we must have a very clear vision for that future. We must know who we want to be, and we must be intentional in pursuing it. May I ask you, what's the vision of our nation? Who do we want to be? I want you to sit back and reflect on this question. Who do we want to be as a nation, and what is our vision? I don't mean a vision written on a paper by a group of highly educated consultants on the 7th floor of a 5-star hotel somewhere in Abuja, but a vision that is crafted by the everyday Nigerians, owned by everyday Nigerians, from the market women in Oshodi to the bus garages in Gwagwalada. A vision that children right from the north to the south will believe in, and elders from the east to the west will protect. A vision that is not owned by one political party, but supported by every Nigerian. And I would like us to believe today that it's a good time for us to start crafting that vision. Now, if you look across the world, you'll see the various nations globally can be identified with something. Every nation is known for something great. The United Nations is known to be the tech capital of the world. China is known to be the manufacturing capital of the world. The United Arab Emirates today prides itself as the tourism capital of the world. And considering the great population we will have, and we have, I would like to say today that we could be the human resource capital of the world. Yes, 400 million people, that's the greatest human resource any nation could have. We should invest in our human resource because the value of people outweighs and surpasses the value of our natural resources. And with quality education, we can be sure, we can be certain that we can achieve the great dreams for the great Nigeria we want to achieve. 8 years ago, I was a very young boy. I just came into Lagos for my National Youth Service. It was a very beautiful city, as it still is today. And I went into the NYC camp with over 9,000 other young people filled with so much excitement. It was the beginning of a new journey. I was one of the very lucky young corp members who was posted to one of the leading banks to work right at the head office. And for me, that was a great experience. I was working with C-suite executives, engaging with some of the biggest customers. It was a beautiful experience. And once in a week, I would have the opportunity to go and do a CDS program, which was what we call the Community Development Service. Fortunately, while I was in camp, I was elected to be the class governor for the Millennium Development Goals Community Development Service Group. And this gave me an opportunity to go into communities and work on the Millennium Development Goals. Interestingly, I was exposed to some realities I never knew existed. I went into communities from Ajegule to Bariga, to Makoko, where I saw children who were so bright and so talented, yet they were not in school. That was an experience that changed the trajectory of my life. Doing that for so many months, I realized that time was running out. I had just about 4 months to be done with my National Youth Service. And one of the commitments I made was that before I was done, I wanted to see that at least 100 of those children got into school. But at some point in January and February, it was definitely impossible because I just did not have the time. And every other day when I go back into the community, I see the potential in those children. And then the next day I come back to work and I see the reality in front of me. And it got to a point where I told myself that what was going to be most fulfilling at the end of this service year will be that these children got access to education. These children got into schools. And I made a very great decision, which I would say was the most difficult decisions and the toughest decisions and the biggest decision I made in my life. It was resigning from the bank. Of course, it came with a lot of pressure from family, from friends, from the corporate world, from the office. But yes, I did that. And even though I never had a very clear plan, I knew what the vision was and what I wanted to pursue. I pulled together friends and followers who I had. And we came together, and fortunately, we were able to raise funds, and we got 114 children into school for the very first time, 2 months after I had resigned. Before then, I had written to over 100 organizations, printed over 150 proposals, and not one organization actually supported because it was just impossible to believe that a young 23, 24-year-old boy would leave his job to go help children who he had no relationship with. And 8 years down the line, from 114 children, today we've supported over 107,000 children. From 110 volunteers we had back then, today we have over 10,100 volunteers from over 40 countries. From one community, today we have over 45 communities. And from no partner back then, today we have over 400 partner organizations. This is just a story of not just myself, but every Nigerian who's struggling and working hard because we believe in this nation, because we know that this nation is filled with potential. The future we deserve and the future we desire is right in our hands if we come together to collaborate more and compete less. If we stand up and speak up positively about the potential of our nation, criticizing less. If we roll up our sleeves and wear our boots and we come out on the field and put in the work, we will see results. Every one of us was birthed into this nation for such a time as this. Not to give up, not just to run away, but to make a difference. And together we can build this nation to become what we want it to be. Nigeria is a great nation. It's going to be one of the greatest nations, if not the greatest nation on earth. And this is the truth. Because we have the human resource. We have the natural resources. We have every single thing in you and in me to bring her to that great destination. And I want to invite you, not just to give up today, but to rebirth that dream that's right in our hearts. Happy 60th Independence Day, and I wish you all the best future ahead.
Happy Independence Day, Nigeria. 60 years already. Wow. How I have waited with bated breath for you to fully emerge. How I have longed to see you take your place on the world stage. After all these years, I still have hope. Hope through my own personal journey that there is power in one. My journey started 37 years ago when I was born in the Nigerian Air Force Medical Center in Kano. Born to a Yoruba Muslim father and an Igbo Christian mother meant that I was born and raised blind to ethnicity, to tribe, or to religion. The diversity in my upbringing has shaped the love that I have for the people of Nigeria and the country as a whole. It was Dr. Joyce Banda, the first female president of Malawi, that said, "Leadership is a love affair, and that one must fall in love with the people one serves." I believe this is the foundation for a life of service, love. What has love got to do with it, you ask? It is time for us to love one another. It is time for us to stand united, regardless of tribe, of religion, of gender, of geography, or generation. We all deserve a better Nigeria, and we all have a role to play. Talking about service, both my parents served Nigeria for 35 years as public servants. My dad in the Air Force, and my mom as a teacher. The picture of my dad waking up every morning and wearing the same uniform remains fresh in my mind. The pride with which he served, the sacrifices for love and service to country. Or is it my mom who came home almost every other week, informing us that we had a new brother or sister? These were mostly children whose parents will commit to her care as their teacher. I did not know it then, but I'm old enough to know it now and can confidently conclude that service is in my DNA. I grew up believing and knowing that I too had the power to change the world. And this informed my career choices since the age of 16. In my book, Building a Conscious Career, I document how this hunger led me to intentionally build a career that creates impact by improving the livelihoods of the poor and marginalized, particularly women and youth. And I make a case for everyone to do the same. I have dedicated my professional career towards delivering award-winning interventions that have improved the education, health, economic, and employment outcomes in 30 states across Nigeria. Work that has allowed me to travel the length and breadth of this beautiful country. Memories that inspire me to hold on at times when I want to give up. It was deliberate to work across sectors. And I believe that a multi-sectoral approach is one of the ways we can solve Nigeria's systemic challenges. I believe that the private and nonprofit sectors play a major role if we're to achieve sustainable development. But I am convinced that the public sector plays the most critical role based on its ability to effect the most change to the most people through public policy and legislation. My very first job was at ActionAid International, an organization that had a vision of a world without poverty and a mission to eradicate the inequities and the injustices that cause poverty. In that role, I was part of a team responsible for strengthening the institutional capacity of government agencies in 12 states across Nigeria to address the HIV and AIDS pandemic. In my previous role as Director of Strategy, Funding, and Stakeholder Management at the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund, I worked alongside a team of amazing individuals who express their power daily to bring about change. Together, we created 92,000 new jobs in Lagos State and disbursed loans worth almost 7 billion naira to over 11,000 entrepreneurs. Now, I'm on a new mission to increase women's political representation and leadership in Nigeria. The political landscape of any society should ideally be representative of people within that society. So in the case of Nigeria, this should be men, women, and people living with disabilities. But the outcome of the 2019 elections left me with just one question. Where are the women? Did you know that Nigeria has never had an elected female president or an elected female governor? And that out of 469 seats in the National Assembly today, women only occupy 18 seats. This is despite the fact that evidence from countries with more representation of women in politics and governance points to better outcomes when you're looking at the human development issues like maternal mortality, neo and infant mortality, gender-based violence, and access to basic education. Through ElectHer, which I've co-founded, a pioneer end-to-end women's political advancement initiative designed to support qualified women to decide, run, and win elections. We are on a mission to support 1,000 women to run for elective office in 2023. It is my conviction that women will play a defining and catalytic role in building Nigeria's present and its future. And I invite you to join us and elect her for service. My dear Nigerians, the dots eventually connect, even for ordinary people like you and I. But here's the thing. Dots must exist before a connection can happen. And so we have to do, and in doing, live out our highest values. We must create a vision of our lives and have an incredible amount of hope in the possibilities that exist all around us. For me, it was always about self-leadership. This idea that I'm the only one that I have full control over, and that an individual who decides to take that one defining step can, in doing so, create ripples and pockets of positive impact in the world. Changing the world often seems like something that only extraordinary people get to do. But we are they. No one is coming to save us. We are the ones that will save ourselves. How, you ask? By the choices we make in our daily lives. To do good or to cut corners. To show up or to step down. To dig our feet so firmly into the sands of time and create impact that transcends even the length of our lives. So when I think back to my 16-year-old self and all the dreams I had, all I had was a desire to play an active role, not only in the future I get to live in, but also in the one I leave behind. I knew that in giving of myself in service, there would be more of myself to be found. And so if there is one singular thing I can leave with you today, it is the conviction that your place in Nigeria matters. In this moment, you are making decisions that are causing ripples in time in ways that you have no idea of. There is power in one, and I dare say there is power in you. But the power of one requires the expression of power in all of us, men, women, boys, and girls. The Nigeria of our dreams will not become a reality until we give of ourselves in service. It is not about where we were born or what we have or where we live. It is about who we are becoming. So I ask you, if not now, then when? And if not you, then who? God bless you, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Nigeria, I see that you have been laying low. I see that you have been in hiding. I see that you have been hiding in your nest and avoiding the army of vultures that have been circling around your head. But I also see you at the top of a mountain. I see you regaining your strength. I see you being fed, and I see a covering over you. I see your citizens being sent out as a people of distinction. I see them being empowered to seek knowledge. I see them returning to school to learn about good governance, about justice, policies, legal structures, technology, and finance. I see them walking through the hallowed halls of Oxford, Cambridge, LSE, and Stanford. I see scholarships and grants being handed out to your brightest minds. I see underrepresented boys and girls being trained by master teachers. I see highly skilled and educated Nigerians returning to enforce systemic change. I see fierce ones being trained to be fearless and courageous. I see them as the unbreakable and unbroken ones. I see them walking in integrity. I see them undergoing intensive character training. I see a center of excellence. I see civil servants falling in love with their work. I see craftsmen using their hands to beat leather. I see them creating culturally significant sculptures and interactive art pieces. I see federal agencies being transformed. I see uniformed men and women on the streets, restoring order and control. I see influencers partnering with local leaders and movers and shakers. I see Nigerians being changed from victims to victors. I see them being healed of their trauma. I see them peeling off band-aids and taking off casts. I see development plans being rolled out. I see diligent men and women training and turning their hometowns into innovative hubs. I see tourists pouring into Nigeria. I see countrysides. I see hidden caves being discovered. I see the natural beauty of our nation. I see long, free roads connecting streets, towns, and cities. Nigeria, I see you. I see your royalty. I see your citizens being crowned and honored. I see your resourcefulness. I see your intelligence. I see you changing the narrative. I see you being invited to panels and gatherings. Nigeria, I see you. Do not give up too quickly. Your unveiling is taking place right now.